Welcome, high-value men. Let's get straight into it. This topic is going to be a game changer because, honestly, no one else on the internet is breaking it down like this. These 7 psychological triggers I'm about to share are so effective, so powerful, that you need to promise me something before we start. Comment "I promise" below that you'll only use these methods for good. I don't want you using these tactics to manipulate or hurt anyone. These are meant to build real, meaningful connections, and trust me, when you apply them the right way, you'll see how easily women become attached to you. So attached, it might even surprise you. So, let's make that promise, and then we'll dive in. Stay tuned, because not only will these tips transform your dating life, but the last 2 points are the most crucial, and no one else is teaching them. Number 1. The possibility of commitment. One of the most magnetic forces that draws a woman to a man isn't the man himself, it's the possibility of what he could be to her. The idea that he might commit someday, that he's attainable but not easily won, creates a sense of anticipation that women find intoxicating. Let's break this down. Most men make one of 2 mistakes. They either rush to commit, thinking it will secure her attention, or they act completely unavailable, believing that mystery alone will make them irresistible. Both of these approaches fail to ignite the emotional fire that truly keeps a woman captivated. Women are not drawn to extremes. They're drawn to the delicate balance of uncertainty and hope, the space where the what-if factor thrives. So, what is the what-if factor? It's the stage where she's constantly wondering, is he going to commit to me? Am I the one for him? Is this relationship moving toward something real? That uncertainty, when handled correctly, keeps her engaged on an emotional level. But here's the twist. It's not about playing games. It's about positioning yourself as someone who is selective, discerning, and in control of your life. Imagine this. You're seeing someone, and instead of laying all your cards on the table up front, you let her discover who you are over time. You show her glimpses of your values, your standards, and your long-term vision. This approach creates intrigue. She starts to wonder if she meets your criteria, if she's the kind of woman who fits into your life. And that's exactly where you want her, invested in proving herself to you. But here's the catch. You have to mean it. High-value men don't fake selectiveness. They genuinely screen the women in their lives. Ask yourself, what do you want in a partner? Is she kind? Is she supportive? Does she bring value to your life, or is she just someone you find attractive? When you adopt this mindset, you naturally create that sense of uncertainty, not because you're withholding affection, but because you're intentional about who you invest in. Now, let's talk about what this looks like in action. Instead of jumping into a relationship because you feel pressured, take your time. Be clear about your standards, but don't feel the need to constantly explain yourself. For example, if she asks where the relationship is going, you can say something like, "I value where we're at right now, and I'm enjoying getting to know you better." This statement is honest, respectful, and still keeps her guessing. On the other hand, avoid overcomplicating this dynamic. Some men mistake creating uncertainty for being distant or aloof, and that's not the goal. The goal is to be present, to show her that you value her company, but also to subtly communicate that you're not in a rush. When a woman feels like she has to earn your commitment, she values it infinitely more. This approach also protects you. Far too many men commit too quickly, only to realize later that they've chosen someone who doesn't align with their values. By taking your time and allowing her to reveal her true self, you not only maintain control of the relationship dynamic, but also ensure that you're building something worth keeping. Remember, it's not about refusing to commit. It's about the possibility of commitment. When you're selective, intentional, and confident, you create a dynamic that's hard to resist. She'll be thinking about you, wondering about you, and most importantly, investing in you. And that's the power of mastering the what-if factor. Number 2, making your attention like a drug. Attention is one of the most powerful tools a man has in creating deep emotional connections. But here's the catch. Not all attention is created equal. The key is to make your attention feel rare, valuable, and irreplaceable, like a drug she craves. Let's break down how this works. Imagine for a moment that attention is like a limited edition item. Think about luxury brands like Louis Vuitton. Their value doesn't just come from the quality of their products, it's the exclusivity. When something is scarce, people want it more. The same principle applies to your attention. If you're always available, always responding immediately, and always pouring your energy into her, it loses its value. On the other hand, if you make her feel special only when she's in your presence and then pull back naturally, your attention becomes addictive. Here's the truth. Women want to feel good when they're with you. Your job is to create moments of joy, connection, and chemistry that she can't find elsewhere. Treat her exceptionally well when you're together. Be fully present. Flirt with her, make her laugh, lead the date, and create an environment where she feels safe and feminine. Pay attention to the little things, how she talks, her mannerisms, her thoughts. Make her feel like the center of your world for that moment. But, and this is critical, once that moment ends, you step back. You go about your life, focusing on your goals, hobbies, and relationships. You're not ghosting her or playing games. You're simply maintaining your boundaries and priorities. This creates a dynamic where she associates your presence with positive emotions and starts to crave more of it. Let me give you an example. Say you take her out on an incredible date. You're attentive, charming, and fun. At the end of the date, instead of immediately texting her about how much you enjoyed it or planning the next meetup, you leave it at a simple, genuine, "I had a great time tonight. Let's talk soon." Then, you let her sit with the memory of the experience. That space you create allows her to reflect on how good she felt around you, and it makes her look forward to the next interaction. The biggest mistake most men make is overloading her with attention. They think that constant texting, calling, or planning will show her how much they care. But here's the reality. When attention is always available, it loses its impact. Think of it like a song you love. If you play it on repeat, eventually you'll get tired of it. But if you hear it only occasionally, it feels fresh and exciting every time. Another critical aspect of making your attention valuable is having a full, well-rounded life. Women are naturally drawn to men who have purpose and passion. When she sees that your time is valuable because you're working on your career, hitting the gym, or spending time with family and friends, your attention becomes a privilege, not an expectation. She starts to realize that being with you means being part of something greater. And that's intoxicating. This doesn't mean you treat her poorly or ignore her. Quite the opposite. When you're with her, you treat her like a queen. But when you're not, you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself. This balance between presence and absence is what makes your attention feel like a rare and valuable gift. The result? She becomes emotionally invested. She starts to anticipate and cherish the moments you spend together. And most importantly, she begins to value your attention at a deeper level. That's the power of making your attention like a drug, scarce, intentional, and unforgettable. Number 3. Using silence to your advantage. Silence is often underestimated, but in the realm of attraction, it's one of the most powerful tools a man can wield. The ability to embrace silence not only sets you apart, but also creates an air of mystery and authority that women find irresistibly attractive. Let's explore why silence is such a game changer. Most men fall into the trap of over-communicating. They think that constant talking, texting, or reassuring her is the way to win her over. But in reality, this overexposure often dilutes their presence. Women are not drawn to the man who constantly seeks validation. They're captivated by the one who can remain calm, composed, and confident, even in moments of silence. Here's why silence works. It creates space for tension. When you're silent, you leave room for her thoughts to wander, her emotions to build, and her curiosity to grow. She starts to wonder, what's he thinking? Is he interested? Am I saying the right things? This dynamic puts her in a state of intrigue, where she's actively investing her energy into figuring you out. And that's precisely where you want her, engaged and intrigued. Let's break this down into practical terms. Say you're on a date. Most men feel the need to fill every moment with conversation, fearing that silence will make things awkward. But a high-value man knows that silence, when used correctly, is a tool for connection. For example, after she shares something personal or meaningful, instead of immediately responding, take a pause. Maintain eye contact, nod subtly, and let her words hang in the air. This not only shows that you're fully present, but also allows her to feel heard and appreciated. The same principle applies to texting. If you're always the first to initiate conversations or respond instantly, it sends a message that you're too available. On the other hand, taking your time to reply, not out of manipulation, but because you're genuinely busy, creates a sense of scarcity. She starts to value your attention more because it's not always readily available. Silence also amplifies the weight of your words. When you speak less, but with purpose, your words carry more meaning. For instance, instead of rambling on about how much you enjoyed spending time with her, a simple, heartfelt, "I had a great time tonight," can leave a lasting impression. The less you say, the more impactful your message becomes. But here's the key. Silence is not about playing games or being cold. It's about being comfortable with yourself and the moment. High-value men are not afraid of silence because they don't rely on external validation to feel secure. They understand that silence is a sign of confidence, not weakness. There's also a psychological aspect to silence. People often project their own emotions onto the silent person. When you're silent, she starts to fill in the blanks with her own thoughts and feelings, often interpreting your calm demeanor as strength and stability. This perception makes you appear more composed, more mysterious, and ultimately more attractive. One important note: know when to use silence appropriately. Prolonged or poorly timed silence can come off as disinterest or arrogance. The goal is to use silence strategically, during moments of connection, reflection, or when creating intrigue. In essence, silence is your secret weapon. It's a subtle but powerful way to shift the dynamic in your favor, making her more curious, more invested, and more drawn to you. So, the next time you're tempted to fill the air with words, remember this: sometimes the most attractive thing you can say is nothing at all. Number 4. Creating small concessions. One of the most overlooked but incredibly effective ways to make a woman feel deeply attached to you is by guiding her to invest in the relationship, one small step at a time. This strategy, known as creating small concessions, is not about manipulation. It's about building a dynamic where she willingly invests her time, energy, and emotions into you. And here's the secret: the more she invests, the more she values the connection. Let's break this down. Every time someone says yes to a request or invests in an interaction, they're subconsciously committing to that relationship. This is true in business, friendships, and especially romance. For women, these small acts of investment create a sense of belonging and attachment, making her feel more emotionally connected to you over time. Imagine this scenario. You're on your third or fourth date, and you casually ask her for a favor. Nothing major, just something simple like, "Hey, could you grab us a bottle of wine on the way over?" Or, "Can you send me that playlist you mentioned earlier?" When she says yes and follows through, it may seem insignificant, but it's a small act of commitment. Each time she agrees to help or contribute, she's investing a little more into the relationship. Here's why this works. Human psychology tells us that people value what they work for. When she invests her effort, no matter how small, she begins to see the relationship as something worth nurturing. She starts to think, "I've put time and energy into this man, and I want it to work." This process subtly shifts the dynamic, making her more emotionally engaged. But it doesn't stop there. These small concessions also help establish a healthy power balance in the relationship. When you confidently make requests, whether it's asking her to pick something up, join you in an activity, or help you with a task, you're subtly positioning yourself as a leader. Women are naturally drawn to men who lead with confidence and decisiveness. Now, some men worry that asking for favors might come off as needy or demanding. But here's the key. It's all about the tone and intent. Your requests should feel lighthearted and natural, not like you're taking advantage. For example, instead of saying, "Can you do this for me because I need it?" frame it as, "It'd be great if you could help with this. It'd mean a lot." This approach keeps the interaction balanced and enjoyable. Let's take it a step further. These small concessions can also create moments of deeper connection. For instance, after she does something for you, show genuine appreciation. A simple "thank you," that means a lot, followed by a warm smile, reinforces the positive dynamic. This not only makes her feel valued, but also encourages her to continue investing in the relationship. It's important to note that this isn't about one-sided effort. As much as you encourage her to invest, you should also be investing in her. Plan thoughtful dates, pay attention to her interests, and support her when she needs it. This mutual exchange creates a foundation of trust and respect, making the relationship stronger over time. Lastly, remember that this strategy works best when it aligns with her natural instincts. Women are often nurturing by nature, and small acts of care, like making you a cup of coffee, helping with a project, or simply being there for you, make them feel fulfilled and appreciated. By encouraging these moments, you're not only building a stronger bond, but also allowing her to embrace her femininity in a way that feels authentic and rewarding. In essence, creating small concessions is about fostering a dynamic of mutual investment. It's not about demanding or manipulating, it's about giving her the opportunity to actively contribute to the relationship. Over time, these small acts add up, creating a deep emotional connection that's hard to break. Number 5. Building a narrative she believes in. If you want a woman to feel truly attached to you, you need to go beyond surface-level attraction. Women are drawn to men who create a story, a narrative that makes them feel special, valued, and deeply connected. This isn't about telling lies or crafting a fantasy. It's about highlighting the unique bond you share and making her believe she's part of something meaningful. Let's start with why this matters. Women crave connection, and part of that connection comes from feeling like they have a unique role in your life. If she senses that you see her as just another pretty face or someone replaceable, she'll start to pull away. On the other hand, if you can articulate why she stands out and what makes your dynamic special, she'll feel emotionally invested in you. So how do you build this narrative? It begins with genuine observation and appreciation. Pay attention to her personality, her quirks, and the way she interacts with the world. For instance, if she's particularly thoughtful or has a unique sense of humor, acknowledge it. Instead of generic compliments like, "You're so pretty," say something more specific. "I love how you always notice the little details. It's something I really admire about you." This shows her that you see beyond the surface and value who she is as a person. The narrative becomes even more powerful when you tie it into your shared experiences. For example, after a great date, you might say, "I don't think I've ever laughed as much as I did tonight. There's something about you that just makes everything feel effortless." Statements like these create a story in her mind, one where she's not only important, but also irreplaceable. Another way to build this narrative is to reflect on moments that highlight your connection. Let's say you've had a meaningful conversation or shared an intimate moment. Later, you can bring it up and frame it as part of your unique bond. For instance, "I still think about that conversation we had the other night. It's rare to find someone who's so open and easy to talk to." By doing this, you're reinforcing the idea that your relationship is special and worth cherishing. But there's more to this than just words. Actions play a crucial role in solidifying the narrative. When you show up consistently, whether it's through thoughtful gestures or simply being present, you're proving that the connection you're building is real. This creates a sense of security that strengthens her attachment to you. Here's the important part. Women want to feel valued for more than just their looks or physical attraction. If you only compliment her appearance or focus on the superficial aspects of your relationship, she'll eventually start to question your intentions. Building a deeper narrative means recognizing her as a whole person, her thoughts, emotions, and aspirations. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you've had an intimate moment, and afterward, instead of just saying, "That was great," you say something like, "I love how natural everything feels with you. It's rare to have this kind of chemistry." This not only validates the experience, but also plants a seed in her mind that your connection is unique. Over time, these moments and words add up, creating a story she'll replay in her head, a story where you're the man she can't stop thinking about. Finally, remember that building a narrative isn't about manipulation or empty flattery. It's about authenticity. The best narratives are grounded in truth, and the more genuine you are, the more powerful your words and actions will be. When you create a story she believes in, you're not just winning her attention, you're earning her trust and loyalty. In the end, Women don't just fall for men, they fall for the story those men create. Be the man who builds a narrative that's worth believing in, and you'll find her attachment to you growing stronger with every moment. Number 6. Making her feel unique. Every woman wants to feel special, like she's one of a kind in the eyes of the man she admires. If you can master the art of making her feel truly unique, you'll create a bond that's hard to break. This isn't about empty flattery or saying what she wants to hear. It's about genuinely recognizing the qualities that set her apart and showing her that you see them. Let's start with the most important point. Most men focus on generic compliments like, "You're beautiful," or "You're amazing." While these are nice to hear, they don't stand out. Why? Because she's probably heard them 100 times before. To truly make her feel unique, you need to go deeper. Pay attention to the little things that make her who she is, the way she laughs, her perspective on life, or even the way she approaches challenges. Then, acknowledge those qualities in a way that feels authentic. For example, instead of saying, "You're so funny," try something more specific like, "I love how you always find a way to make even the most boring situations hilarious. It's such a rare quality." This type of compliment shows that you've noticed something unique about her, and it resonates on a deeper level. But it's not just about words, it's about actions too. Making her feel unique means treating her differently than anyone else. Let's say you're on a date, and she mentions that she loves a particular type of dessert. The next time you see her, you surprise her with it. This small gesture shows that you're not just listening, you're paying attention and acting on what you've learned. It's these thoughtful details that make her feel valued and special. Another key aspect of making her feel unique is creating personalized experiences. Instead of taking her to the same generic places or doing the same activities you do with anyone else, tailor your plans to her interests. If she loves art, take her to a gallery you think she'd enjoy. If she's into music, surprise her with tickets to see her favorite band. These moments show that you're not just going through the motions, you're putting effort into making her feel seen and appreciated. Here's another secret. The way you listen to her matters just as much as what you say or do. Most people listen to respond, but high-value men listen to understand. When she's talking about something important to her, don't interrupt or shift the focus back to yourself. Instead, ask thoughtful questions that show you're genuinely interested in her thoughts and feelings. For example, if she's sharing a story about her childhood, ask her what she learned from that experience or how it shaped who she is today. This level of engagement makes her feel like her voice truly matters to you. Now, let's address a common misconception. Some men think that making a woman feel unique means putting her on a pedestal. This couldn't be further from the truth. You're not worshiping her. You're simply acknowledging and celebrating the qualities that make her stand out. The goal is to create a balanced dynamic where she feels valued without losing respect for you as a strong, independent man. Lastly, be consistent. It's one thing to make her feel special in the beginning, but if you let that effort fade over time, it can backfire. Women notice when the energy shifts, and inconsistency can make her question your sincerity. By continually showing her that you value and appreciate her uniqueness, you build trust and deepen the connection. In the end, making her feel unique isn't about grand gestures or overly elaborate plans. It's about the small, thoughtful actions and genuine acknowledgments that show her she's not just another option, she's someone truly special to you. When she feels seen, understood, and valued in ways she's never experienced before, she'll become emotionally attached to you in a way that's hard to replicate. Number 7. Challenging her in a subtle way. If you want to stand out from every other man in her life, you need to become a challenge, not in an aggressive or confrontational way, but in a way that keeps her intrigued and engaged. Women are naturally drawn to men who make them think, grow, and invest in the relationship. By challenging her in subtle yet meaningful ways, you create a dynamic where she feels both excitement and respect for you. Here's why this works. Most men fall into one of two categories. They're either overly agreeable, saying yes to everything in an effort to avoid conflict, or they're too combative, constantly trying to prove they're right. Neither approach works in building attraction. Women don't want a pushover, but they also don't want someone who's always trying to win. The sweet spot is being a man who stands his ground while inviting her to step up and engage with you on a deeper level. Let's start with what subtle challenges look like. Imagine you're having a conversation and she expresses a strong opinion about something. Instead of simply agreeing or dismissing her point, ask her a thought-provoking question. For example, if she says, "I think traveling is the best way to grow as a person," you could respond with, "That's an interesting take. Do you think personal growth is possible without stepping outside your comfort zone physically?" This type of question shows that you're paying attention, that you have your own perspective, and that you're not afraid to explore deeper ideas. Another way to challenge her is through playful banter. Tease her in a lighthearted way that makes her laugh while keeping the conversation dynamic. For instance, if she says she's terrible at something, you could jokingly respond, "Well, I'm glad you're self-aware. It's the first step to recovery." The key here is to keep the tone fun and never cross the line into being mean or condescending. A little wit goes a long way in keeping the interaction fresh and exciting. But challenging her isn't just about conversations, it's also about actions. For example, instead of always being the one to plan dates or activities, occasionally ask her to take the lead. You could say something like, "You always talk about how great your taste is. How about you plan the next adventure and impress me?" This not only keeps her engaged, but also gives her a chance to invest in the relationship. Here's where the subtlety comes in. Your challenges should never feel like ultimatums or tests. The goal is to create an environment where she feels encouraged to step up, not pressured or judged. Women are naturally drawn to men who inspire them to be their best selves, and subtle challenges can bring out that motivation. At the same time, it's important to stay balanced. Challenging her too often or in the wrong way can come off as controlling or dismissive. For example, if you constantly contradict her opinions or question her decisions, it can create unnecessary tension. The key is to challenge her in ways that feel playful, supportive, and rooted in mutual respect. One of the biggest benefits of this approach is that it helps you maintain your frame. By standing firm in your values and inviting her to meet you there, you establish yourself as a man with standards and expectations. This not only earns her respect, but also makes her feel like she's part of something meaningful. Lastly, remember that subtle challenges can deepen your connection. When you engage her intellectually, emotionally, and even playfully, you create moments of growth and discovery that bring you closer together. She'll see you as someone who keeps her on her toes, someone she can't quite predict, and that's incredibly attractive. In the end, challenging her in a subtle way isn't about creating conflict, it's about fostering connection. By encouraging her to think, act, and invest, you show her that you're not just another man looking for validation. You're a high-value man who values growth, authenticity, and a relationship built on mutual respect. You've just learned 7 powerful strategies to make women feel deeply attached to you, maybe even obsessed. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. Each of these strategies, from creating the possibility of commitment to challenging her in subtle ways, is designed not to manipulate, but to foster genuine, meaningful connections. These aren't tricks. They're tools for becoming the kind of man who naturally inspires respect, admiration, and love. At the core of all these strategies is one principle: being a high-value man. A high-value man doesn't chase, beg, or settle. He knows his worth, sets boundaries, and builds relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. When you approach dating with this mindset, everything changes. Women aren't just drawn to you. They choose to stay because they see the unique value you bring. Here's the key takeaway. It's not about playing games or following a script. It's about understanding what truly makes a connection last. Women want to feel seen, valued, and challenged in a way that excites them. When you master these 7 strategies, you give her what she craves most: a relationship that feels authentic and fulfilling. But there's one final point I want to leave you with. Don't forget to focus on yourself. A man who is constantly improving, pursuing his goals, and living his best life is infinitely more attractive than someone who makes his entire world revolve around a woman. When you're grounded in your purpose, your energy becomes magnetic. Women notice this, and they can't help but be drawn to you. And let's not ignore the responsibility that comes with this knowledge. These strategies are powerful, so powerful that they can influence the way women see you, think about you, and feel about you. But with great power comes great responsibility. Use these methods to build relationships that are respectful and meaningful, not to manipulate or hurt others. When you approach dating with integrity, the results will not only benefit your relationships, but also your sense of self-worth and personal growth. Now, before you go, I have one final challenge for you. Take one of these strategies and apply it in your life, starting today. Whether it's creating a sense of mystery with the possibility of commitment, making your attention more valuable, or simply listening more deeply, start small and build from there. Growth happens step by step, and the sooner you begin, the faster you'll see results. If you found value in this video, here's what you can do to keep the momentum going. Hit that like button if you've learned something new today. Drop a comment below sharing which strategy you're most excited to try. Subscribe to the Stoic Golden Rule to stay updated on more insights that will transform your relationships and your life. Remember, the journey to becoming a high-value man isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Keep striving, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of yourself. Until next time, stay confident, stay disciplined, and stay true to your worth.